Space 2015. I'm Ivana Boysel.
And I'm PamBliss, and I know I'm supposed to talk about my business name, but I don't really have one. I'm just PamBliss, and I make my own comics. So,
How did you hear about this event?
I heard about it from Bob before it even happened the first time. I've known Bob for years, and he came up to me once, I'm sure it must have been at a Mid-Ohio Con, and told me he was thinking about starting his own convention for just independent comics. And I told him, put me on the mailing list, and he did. I was at the very first one, and I haven't missed one since.
That's awesome. How long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been making actual physical comics since 1989, but I was interested in it beforehand, and I actually was carrying samples around trying to get work, one of the independent companies to pick up my book when I'm in 1988 at the Chicago Comic Con, and I met Matt Fizel, and he showed me a mini comic. That was the first time I'd ever seen one, and I had my first three the next year. So.
Now, are you an artist or a writer or both?
Both. Inker, letterer, person who prints them and folds them and staples them and puts them together. The whole thing. One-man band.
How did you get started in this field of art?
I think just when I was a kid, I used to drive all my teachers crazy by writing on my drawings and drawing on my writing assignments. I could never separate the two. To me, it was always like, let's tell a story two ways. So I think it was probably natural that I gravitated to comics.
Now, have you had formal schooling?
Well, I took art all through high school, all 4 years. And when I went to college, I took lights. Oops, cut that out. I took most of my electives in art. I took a design class. Which was the Albers color class from the Bauhaus, which, if you could ever take that, they teach you everything you need to know about working in color. And I took 2 drawing classes and a year of printmaking. So that's my form. I've never actually been to art school.
Now, what's your style as an artist? Like your type of story or messages?
I don't have any messages. I've never liked work that tries to teach you a lesson. So I just try to tell an honest story and try to make people, things, trees, rocks, everything behave in a natural manner. People say fiction is telling a lie truthfully.
Okay.
Okay?
That's really interesting. I mean, a lot of people do that kind of work. Some are really successful about that.
Oh, yeah.
And people have the wrong impression that comics always have to be funny or something.
Oh, no. I mean...
That is so wrong.
No. I try to make mine interesting. Oh, I see what you're doing. I was trying to make them interesting and have some kind of little twist in them that makes the ending be unexpected.
Do you have a certain audience for your work?
Anyone who's interested. I try really hard never to narrow my audience. Well, most of my work is definitely all ages. It's not for kids. It's for what you call general audiences, meaning just anybody who's interested. Though I always say I write for a very intelligent 12-year-old because I myself am a very intelligent 12-year-old.
How do you market your products?
This is the serious question. This is the really hard thing because it's very hard to get the product into the hands of the audience. And I've tried all kinds of different things. I actually had my most success back in the zine days when people were mailing things back and forth, and you put an ad in Fact Sheet 5 and people would write in and get your comics, or they trade you their zine for your zine. Nowadays it's a little harder. The 2 main ways I try, of course, are cons, where I get face-to-face with the audience, and internet presence. I have a website, and I'm always experimenting with different ways to get people to read my work on the web, and then maybe to get interested enough to get some of the physical stuff.
How do you publish your work?
Well, here, we'll use this one because this is an 8-page mini comic, and it's one piece of paper photocopied on both sides, cut in half, folded, and stapled in the spine. And that's how I publish my work. And they get a lot bigger, but the idea is exactly the same. And when I do put out a book, I just get somebody to print it for me, whoever I can afford. There's a ton of digital printing companies, and who they are changes all the time, but there's always somebody who is printing books from digital files, and you just put your file together according to the directions they give you, and no two companies do it the same way. So just pick somebody and they'll hold your hand the first time.
What advice would you give to somebody who has an interest in this field of art?
Don't quit your day job. And this is it's almost a cliche, it's like a huge joke, but seriously, don't expect this to earn your living for you. You gotta find some kind of work that will pay you your life expenses, your health insurance. All of these things are like the serious business of adulthood, and you have to deal with that first. And you start out with doing this in your spare time. And yes, there's been people who made successes out of it. You'll know when it happens. You'll know when you're making enough money and you feel secure enough to go full time. But don't expect it to happen. Expect that this is going to be something. I've been doing this, well, as I said, since 1989, so it'll be 25 years next year. And it doesn't cost me anything. It's a self-sustaining artistic enterprise. Where it doesn't cost, I pay for my printing and my website and my convention tables and all of that out of what I make. So I don't make a dime. I never take so much as a sandwich or a glass of wine out of it for myself. Everything I make goes right back into the kitty to pay expenses.
What makes this event different from the others you have attended in the past?
Well, I think it's definitely the atmosphere and the people. Part of it, this is really personal, is that I have a lot of friends who I see here every year. So that, of course, is something that you might not have coming here for the first time. But the variety of people here, and especially the ages of people. There are conventions I go to where I feel like everybody's grandmother. Because there's not that there's anything wrong with kids. You guys are awesome, and this is where the new art is going to come from. But at the same time, it's nice to see another gray head, and you come here and there's creators of all ages, and I think it makes it very special.
Yeah. How much importance do you place on networking, and/or what kind of networking do you use?
Well, it's funny because cartooning is essentially a solitary activity. I spend hour after hour, day after day alone in my drawing. It's me and NPR, right? And the dog walking in and out, and I don't talk to anybody about comics face to face for weeks at a time because nobody in my circle at home cares one bit. And so it's really important, I think, to go to shows like this, even if all the money you make is enough to cover your table and a little bit of fun, just to see other cartoonists and realize you're not alone. The other big networking source, of course, is the internet, where there's just tons of people and web comics to follow and conversations on people's websites and Facebook and all of that stuff. So it's like a punctuated equilibrium. I don't know if you guys are taught that term, that this is how evolution works in all kinds of changes. It stays real stable until something happens, and then it jumps up a level and it stays stable. And my work is like that, because I come to a show like this, and like at this show I've seen two comics that just absolutely blew my mind. That we're doing things with the form, and I've seen a lot of small press comics in 25 years. And there's some stuff, there's two comics I saw at this show that just absolutely blew my mind, and I'm just dying to go home and take some of those ideas and put them in my own work. So, yeah. Now home to maybe not talk to anybody about anything for a month.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Pam.
Well, thank
You were a
you.
pleasure talking to it as another gray-haired person.
Yeah, exactly.
And I agree
Another
like that.
person
Yes,
with a
that's
few
true.
miles on the clock.
Yes, thank you.